Recording in progress.
So, just wanted to make sure everybody knew where they were. Well, welcome, and welcome to our first presentation with our new involvement here with Champion House. And it has a lot of history to it, from trail champions that it's produced, whether it's hockey or baseball or all kinds of different sports, and we kind of like use that as a metaphor to move into what we have tonight to present on homeless and addiction issues. So I really appreciate you folks coming out tonight, and hopefully this will be informing to you about what we can do, and I think we can do a better job of working with the homeless and people that have addiction issues in the district here. So I'm going to introduce Bob Landucci. Robert, born and raised in Trail, and left here when he was about 18 to go to university and carry on. Bob has a very interesting background. He's worked up at Cominco a little bit. He's been a longshore or a long line fisherman out in the Bering Straits for about 4 or 5 years while he was going to university. And then he got into the lumber business and did quite well in the lumber business down on the coast. And from there he's transitioned into just being one heck of a businessman and being very successful. He has a transfer station that's one of the things that I was initially involved with just to help out with his staff. Up at Ashcroft. If you've ever been to Ashcroft, you'd wonder what we would build in Ashcroft. Well, he's made a beautiful business out of a transfer station up there where the two railroads come together on this piece of property that he had. And it's just taken off like crazy. So building on that, I thought that Bob would be able to help us out with business plans and the business end of it. And he's certainly been helpful so far in getting us ginned up and excited about what we can do and how we can do it. So from that perspective, I'd just like to introduce Bob, and thanks for coming up, Bob.
Thanks, Jerry. Now I'll tell you the truth. I've done a lot of businesses, and some of them failed, and more of them worked. At the end of the day, if you get one that works and one that fails, you need the second one, and if it works, it works. And so that's where I'm at. With this project, we are going to fail in some things. We're going to do some things wrong. But I think we've got a way to look at it that was quite interesting. And this came from Vancouver about maybe 21 years ago or so. I got invited to go down to the Hastings, East Hastings, and see what's going on. And we had meetings there. It was mind-boggling. I really wasn't paying attention. I was doing my own thing with the family, etc. So there was a big push to build SROs, residences for the people on the street, all these people in the street. So we'll build residences. And there were fellows that gave $1 million and renovated a hotel. And they did this for maybe 6-7 years. And a guy named John McClernand, who was the head of Colliers and all this stuff and on boards and all that, he kind of led it. And then one day he said, you know what, this isn't working. Because what we're doing is we're building a building, or we're doing a building, we're putting a place for people that 4 or 5 of them now have a little apartment to live in, and the 5th apartment is the guy that's the junkie that's selling the dope to the other guys, or for the. And he said, "Well, this isn't working." So what they did is they took the charity and they started to look at it from a different perspective, and they sent the crew out, the new guy that they hired, and he went all over the world. He went to Italy, he went to San Pellegrino, he went to the U.S., he went all over the place to get it. Then I'll take, it's a Chevy calling you, they want you to take a new one. Anyway, and and he came back and said, what we're not doing is we're not doing the thorough program. All we're doing, we're not helping anything. Like, they're hard on themselves, and we spend all this money and we've got all these units, but we're not. So they started the Street to Home program, and Shannon will touch on it, what they do. But anyway, the long story is that you go to them and you say, here's what we're doing. And they come back and they say, okay, we should go to Seattle, we should go down to San Francisco, you should go talk to these people, what works for them, so that people come in. And there's a model that sees people work together in a place, and you sign up for it. And they have a book that you sit down with you for a couple hours and what you want to do, that the seat to the homeless. And then if they can make it, if they're serious, they come in and they get the treatment. And Terry will talk about the treatment, which is a great treatment, helps me and my family for years. It's a very, very solid psychological thing. Not enough of it is used. But they need work, they need to learn skills, they need to get back into society so they can leave. And they did one in Woodward's, the Woodward family gave 100 acres in Victoria, out of Victoria, for this program. Don James, all these guys come. And for 8 years it worked perfectly, until the manager at that time kind of bit off more than he could chew. He didn't pay attention to the neighbors, so all of a sudden it backfired. But while it was working, the people in there was incredible what they were doing. So you'll make mistakes, and we can live off the mistakes everybody else made and try not to make them ourselves. But we will make some. But we'll also be successful. I'm very keen on this. This team is keen, and we want support out here from anybody that wants to. And this is not about money. It's always about money, mind you. But this is like a business. And if we do this right, we can get people to take care of that. And I want to touch one more thing before is Bill Gates. Everybody, he's a great guy. Well, he is a great guy, and people criticize what he's doing. But when they came to him and they did the hub expansion in Seattle of the hub to hospital, they needed, I don't know, $500 million. They went to him, and he said, no, when I'm ready to do charity, I'll do charity. Right now I'm working my business. When he left the business, I mean, he got Berkshire to give him $4 billion. He put $2 billion in himself. He's got all these programs going. Crazy, but that's what we need. We need that kind of people working with us. We'll only get that if we're serious about this program and we can prove that this program is helping people. If we're not going to do that, we're not going to get the support. I think we can do it, and I think this is the town to do it in. So we're going to have a session. We'll break it up. We'll try to keep it real short so that we can have feedback from you guys, because you're living here. That's important. Now I have to see if I can see this thing. Right. So Elizabeth is going to say a few words. Elizabeth is a retired registered nurse, nursing diploma, midwife certificate, Variety Healthcare. She's from Scotland, the USA, Canada. Elizabeth was a community nurse and long-term care manager in communities for the last 25 years. Educationally, she completed the Kellner Personal Mastery Leadership Program. She's a licensed lay worship leader in the United Church and a pastoral care and outreach. And because of the community and family connections, Elizabeth fully understands the pain and heartache resulting from addiction. So these are people that have a problem. And I have 2 relations that are on the street, and it's not fun, and I don't know why I can't help them. So, like Elizabeth, it's a reason to do something. Then we've got Shannon Buss. Shannon, most of you know her. Shannon holds a master's degree in education, is a board-certified behavior analyst in human services for 20 years. She's executive director of a nonprofit who supports adults with development disability, autism, fetal alcohol and spectrum disorder. Shannon has extensive experience in support planning and skill development. Her years' experience in education and passion make her an excellent member of this team. Marnie Devlin. When did you change your name? Marnie Devlin. Marnie possesses extensive experience in organizational design, human resources, labor relations, contract administration, training and development. She has served on boards in the Greater Trail Health Council, Sanctuary, transition houses for women and children. She's also led life skills programs and is an active human rights advocate. And is continuing going to school to do a doctorate, which she should finish next year. Right? And then Peggy. And Peggy is a nurse, diploma from Saskatoon. She has a Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree at UVic. She worked all over the prairies, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Alberta, in acute care and administration. She's active in forming a nursing team leader and and co-behavior in Champion House. She is a big part of this, did the financials on this, and will work with us on the financial side. So what we're going to need in the future is a top CEO, somebody that's strict, somebody that's really can put this thing together, and we'll find that over time. So to start, Elizabeth who's first. Oh, Marnie going for it, I'm sorry.
Can I just say something? Is the door locked? Is that why you had to?
Terry Brand, born and raised in Trail, played hockey in Trail, left Trail, got a master's in counseling, psychology, has taken several postgraduate training and attached based incentive short-term dynamic psychotherapy. He has a diverse background in the RCMP. He was there for 19 years. He was on the musical ride for years, and then he was the director of the RCMP in Saskatchewan and in Ottawa for fitness training. He left the RCMP in 1980, went back to school, and he's specialized in treatment process that is, well, for me, it's unbelievable and successful. And Terry will explain that more than I can.
Hi there, can you hear me? So how we got started, simply a group of people who really cared about our communities, and we were passionate about it. We knew that there were homelessness issues, and we started to work together on that. And as time went by, it really became clear that it wasn't just about homelessness. It was about addiction and mental illness. And we really care about that, so we want to do something about that. Do you like our name?
Yes.
Do you like it a lot?
Yes.
We do too. Okay, so the reason we picked that was because we are so proud and we want to honor our past, present, and future champions. They come from all walks of life, and each one of our communities has a number of people that have brought fame and pride to our communities. So that's why. But more importantly, our goal is to help the people who can't help themselves right now. And we want to help them become the champions that they can and deserve to be. So our mission is very clear. We want to restore healthier and safer communities by offering a proven, readily available, we don't have to go anywhere, treatment program that will promote personal growth and the ability to achieve one's fullest potential. And I want to tell you a little story right now. Last night when Robert and Terry and I left, we walked right into a young man just out here on the sidewalk. And it was raining, and he was getting his stuff all ready to lie down and go to sleep. And we stopped and we talked to him. And as we were talking, he and I held hands, and he was holding my hand. And Terry said, "So where is home for you?" And he actually looked at Terry, and quite often they don't. And he said, "Here, right here." So we talked for quite a while after that, and we left. And as I walked away, I had tears in my eyes and a hole in my heart. And he's the kind of guy that we want to turn into a champion, to turn into the person that he can and deserve to be. So that's our goal, and that's what we're here to do. Our mission is simple. It's more specific. It's related a lot to the people, of course. We want to ensure a sustainable, quality, individual assessment and an evidence-based treatment and rehabilitation, and that's really important to notice the word rehab. We're going to do life skills and job reentry for those who are suffering from addiction and mental illness here. And they are not the only group that we care about. We care about people who have homes. We care about those people because they cannot move freely in our spaces, places where they used to go. Their property is at risk, and they are receiving threats. And my heart goes out to the business people. So we have two groups that we care very, very much about. Now, we do have core values. I think any organization worth its salt should have core values. And ours are special to us, and we picked them. But again, we came together because of the compassion that we felt for our communities and our people. And as we've been working together, this compassion has actually turned into love. Love for the people that walk our streets and do stuff in all our communities. And I'm so proud that my Fruitvale people are here. And it's amazing. It's an amazing place to live. So we started with compassion, and we now have love. Integrity is very, very important. And I promise you that we will be honest, and we will be transparent. And we will strive to always have the highest moral values along the way. Courage. I am so scared. This is a huge undertaking. But we believe in it, and we have the intestinal fortitude to go ahead. We really do, and we're going to make it work. We are determined, and we will never look back. Now, I have to interrupt myself right now, because you might have noticed that we, other than Shannon, are old. Okay? Elderly, I'm sorry. Older, seniors. We are old. But don't be afraid, because we've got a lot of energy. Oh, just stop laughing. We've got a lot of energy, and I think we're pretty smart. But more importantly, we have developed amazing relationships and alliances with younger people and groups. And some of these people are here, and they possess tremendous intellect, drive, tenacity, power, and clout. So we have these people with us now, and they will be with you in the future. Now, the last word that we picked was empowerment. And I am that old that I remember the early 80s when they used to talk about empowerment. They bandied that word around everywhere. But it never made sense to me because nobody was empowered. But as the years have gone by, that word has become alive. It has truth. It has meaning. And within our group, we have empowered each other to believe in each other and to work towards the goals that we've brought out for us. But more importantly, we want to empower the people on the streets so that they can live healthy, active, productive lives. So now Terry will explain the treatment program to you, so I will turn it over to him.
Thanks, Marnie. The treatment program that we're proposing is going to be unique in itself. It's being used in a few treatment centers in California and Arizona, and with really good results. And the basic modality in this treatment, I'm just going to speak to in a second here. So what we currently have in Trail is a shelter where people can get food and be housed if they can be out of the cold or cool in the summertime. And Trail's moved in the right direction of having a bigger facility, I guess. I don't know anything about the plan yet. I haven't seen anything. But we really want to hook up with that aspect of the city and be able to work conjointly with them so that our program, if we get off the road here, will complement one another. So hopefully that's what we'll work towards. So So the model basically, and you folks probably know a lot about this already, is we have a detox program. Now in detox programs, what you really require is a good assessment. You have to have a great facility to start with, and then you have to have the right people to make the proper assessment. If that's not done properly, then what you end up with is a situation in the treatment that really goes south on you. It doesn't work very well, and then you move them into housing, and the things just don't work out. So in detox that we're proposing, we want to have a good psychiatric evaluation to start with, so that you get a handle on where they are from a psychiatry perspective. Then a physician that would assess them for their physical health and be able to make recommendations to what type of medications they might require at the time. And the aspect of detox, you know, you've all heard the stories, the horror stories about people going through the DTs, and those are pretty valid. I've worked in trained in detox centers at the coast and on the island, and people can get very, very ill when they're detoxing. So we want to make sure that we have the proper physical people, physicians, nurses, and the proper staff to be able to cover that. So when we move into the, go to the next slide, the physician's responsibility, of course, will be to make sure that, as I said, that they are properly assessed for their physical well-being and any medications they require. And then when we get through that part of it, then they can move into the treatment aspect of it, which will have a component of it that's, as I just alluded to, is very, very powerful. So, the next slide. If we look at the current state of treatment, okay, this is what's going on globally, really. So 78% of heroin users relapse. 78%. 68% of alcoholics relapse after treatment. And about 62% of cocaine users relapse after treatment. So this has been a passion of mine for 35 years. And one of the things that I ran across was that to try to build on the success of what people are having, there was a lot of resistance to the proposal that I have with regards to the modality of intensive short-term dynamic psychotherapy. But we're moving in the right direction, hopefully. So 47% of clients with drug addiction are going to have a personality disorder, which can also be comorbid with a real psychiatric problem. And hopefully that will be diagnosed and assessed right at the start so that we can get them into the proper treatment if they require that. They may not be requiring anything that we have to offer at the time. They might have to go to a psychiatrist and work with them in private or in a hospital situation. So these folks are oftentimes very, have a lot of defenses, so they can be very defiant. They act out a lot. They drop out, and they relapse. So what we want to do is we want to have something that's going to have a better success rate and move on from there and build on what's out there that's been successful. Okay. So the modality that I'm proposing is ISTDP. This is, just give you a little history of this. Psychoanalysis was found not to work it only works for about 20% of the population. And it's been a golden standard in psychiatry for years. So there's a couple of very, very ingenious gentlemen. One, Dr. David Mallon, who I got to know very well from Tavistock in England, which is a psychiatric hospital, and a doctor in Montreal at the Montreal General, Dr. Habib Davenant. And they collaborated with one another and built on the psychoanalysis model to come up with something that Freud had discovered 100 years ago, but it got lost in the processes. So a lot of what Freud's work ended up becoming should be in a museum. This is not my words, this is their words. But when you look at the success that the ISTDP is having, it just made sense to me. In 1992, I got to study with Dr. Davanloo, and my jaw was on the floor most of the time with what I was watching, because he had demonstrated video of actually his sessions, and you could actually see the things that were happening and changing. So I studied under him and then some other top psychotherapists from Germany and California for the last 30 years, and still have them as supervisors in my own work. So ISTDP has that kind of history, and it's very powerful, it's very effective. And the nice thing about it is that it's rapid. In other words, the efficacy of it is you can cut down a lot of time, and with time comes money, and you can save a lot of money in this type of modality. So I've always looked at that, and that was one of the principal drives of both of these two gentlemen that I speak of, Dr. Mal and Dr. Davanloo, was that they wanted to cut down. I mean, the psychoanalysis, a real good psychoanalysis, about 500 hours. You know, I mean, we're talking 5 years. With ISTDP and what they developed over the last 20 or 30 years, I mean, we're working with very fragile people that have real strong defenses or borderline personalities, and that those labels. You can cut that down to 160 hours, you know, or 100 hours, which is a big cost saving when you think about it. So why ISTDP? Well, it treats very, very broad psychiatric issues, and has been very effective. It started out working with kind of like people with personality disorders in that area, and now we're working with people with borderline personality and people that are, there's some studies out of Halifax right now that are working with schizophrenic aspect of it. So it's a very, very useful modality, and very successful, and I just want to be able to mold that into whatever we're going to develop here in the Champion House. So here's a study that was just done in 21. It's a 30-day inpatient treatment center in California. So what they had was looked at dropout rates after the first week. And the control group, they had about 40%. These are people that didn't change anything that they had been doing for years and years and years. And about 40% of them dropped out. With the experimental group, the group that we used ISTDP with, 24%. After 6 months of sobriety, the control group, there was only 18% that was still in the program. When we were using the experimental group with the ISTDP work, it was a 49% success rate. So I think it speaks for itself, and there's more studies coming out. I was just talking to the authors of this study the other day, and we've got another big study coming out here in the next few months. The data's already been collected, and it's just a matter of processing it. So what we really need to have, and it's important, very, very important, we need to have trained therapists, okay? And they need to be trained on a theoretical basis. They need to have a real background in the functioning and unconscious processes, because this is where the success is going to come from. Developmental skills, they have to have a lot of technique and clinical technique that is very, very successful, and that's hopefully what we can train them to do here in this model. And the constant with the theory and the support and empirical research, we just need to keep that going, and that's being carried out all over Europe and Australia, Canada, United States right now. So there's two components here that I really want to speak to just briefly, and that's anxiety. As you're going to read in the paper, you're going to read or see it on TV, you're going to say, well, there's all these things about anxiety and what you can take for it. But unless you really understand it and work with it, it's something that if it's not dealt with, and I was taught this 35 years ago, that if you don't deal with anxiety, the therapy will probably not work. So if you jump ahead to family history and you want to get into their childhood and this sort of thing, without dealing with anxiety, you're going to get a misalliance right off the bat with the patient or the client. And it probably won't work very well. Not to say it might not work, it just probably won't. So the other one that we really want to look at, and this is coming out of our own research, it's a projection. Well, all of us in this room are going to experience projection at some level. You know, you look at somebody and they give you the stinky eye, and you kind of make up that this person is, doesn't like me. You know? I mean, it's as simple as that. And that's what we call small p projection. And we all have that component in our psyche. The big P projection is the one when you project onto somebody that they're dangerous. That this person is out to get me, they're going to hurt me, they're going to do something to me. I think that's a knife they have on them. I think they're out to get me. And that kind of a projection will lead people, especially when they're psychotic or they're on high on drugs, you never know what they're going to do as a result of it. They can either attack, or they can run, or they can be really, really a problem for the society around them. So those two components of a therapy and detoxing and treatment need to be dealt with immediately, and they need to be done well in order for, I think, for us to have a lot of success. And I'm just confident that we can do this in our proposal here for a champion house. And I hopefully you folks will back us in all this, and we can get on with working this program. So without any further ado, I'll turn it over to Shannon.
So this program is based on having fluid transitions. So we need to have detox, but detox on its own, it's not enough. We need to have treatment, and we need to have rehabilitation. We need to see our folks right through to the end, and even beyond that, and maybe provide some outreach supports. It's not enough just to send somebody back out on the street after they've been through detoxification if they don't have the skills to be able to lead a healthy life. So part of the things that we need to teach are the daily living skills. We need to teach people how to develop a regular routine. We all have routine. We have routine, we don't have to think about what it is. Our folks that we're going to be supporting need to learn how to develop healthy routine. They probably do have routine, it's unhealthy. They're not going to be effective members of the community if they're not developing routine, if they're not developing skills, even from personal hygiene, right up to cooking a meal, shopping, maybe getting a bank account for the very first time. Maybe there's some legal stuff that they need to deal with and don't know how. We need to be able to support people through those things as well. We are going to offer ongoing group therapy where folks can start to use each other as resources. They build trusting relationships. We need to teach social skills. We may see people that maybe have broken down family relationships. We need to support people to learn how to communicate effectively. We need to teach people how to maintain or to develop and maintain healthy relationship with their peers. These are all things that we naturally do. But some of our folks, they're going to learn this for either the very first time or maybe they've lost it and have to relearn it. We need to be that people for them. I had to make notes for myself because I can go on a tangent and I don't want to do that. Because we're not just doing ongoing evaluation and assessment during treatment, we also do it through rehabilitation. We do that for a couple of reasons. It helps us to understand what's working in the programs, and it helps us to know where the folks are that we're supporting. We need to meet them where they're at. Some folks are going to go through the program much quicker. Some people are going to be in different parts of the program for a longer period of time. We've developed what we think, or we will develop, something that's fluid and works for them. If somebody just detoxes quick, they go into treatment, or maybe they don't need to go into treatment. Maybe they go directly into independent living, where we can provide appropriate supports with outreach, because they might still need that. We would like to develop cluster living. And cluster living is basically a whole bunch of apartments in one building where we have 24/7 staff. So if somebody needs support with medication, if somebody needs support with meal prep, if somebody needs just somebody to talk to, we have somebody there for them, which will help them to not relapse and go back out onto the streets. Outreach was support, like we talked about. So I work primarily with adults with developmental disabilities, and I can tell you that a lot of the folks that we support in outreach or in community, we help them with all the things that they simply can't do on their own, and they get to maintain independence that way. Because we're in there just for a couple hours a week. It's not a big thing, but for them, it's huge. Employment supports. Now, I'm not all-knowing in employment supports, but there are other agencies, there are other resources in the community that we have. There's Work BC. CDS does a lot of great work with employment skill development, so that doesn't just have to be us. I would like to see us kind of be a catalyst to be support coordination. It's up to us to know what resources are out there, and we can point people in the other direction. We don't think that we can do it all, but we can certainly get the resources happening for people that need it. So Bob had talked about Street to Home, and I'd never heard about Street to Home before this. And I think Liz, you sent a link, or somebody sent a link for Street to Home, and as I was reading through it, I was like, oh man, this is so what we're thinking. And they've had great success. And it's a little bit astounding to me when I think about what we've come up with, what we're thinking about. And then I read their website and I go through it. And every single thing that we talked about was skill development. It's not just housing, it's teaching skills, it's being there for people, it's developing relationship, it's maintaining relationship. They're doing that. And they're doing it with a ton of different programs. And they're having great success. We just met with them last week, and they shared things that were working for them, and they shared things that weren't. They're a great resource for us. They support this 100%. They're available for us for any questions that we have. We don't expect that we can do this completely on our own. We have other resources. We've looked at tons of different programs to see what's going to work. I truly believe that this is the program that we need. So Peggy's going to talk about a little bit of business stuff now, because that's not my job.
Thanks. I thought that I was going to have to apologize for my colleagues going on and on, but I have to admit they're staying right on cue, so I don't have to let you know that there's only a few more slides left to the end of the presentation, so there's light at the end of the tunnel. I'm going to talk a bit about the business management that we foresee for Champion House. This is a standard organization chart that I'm sure many of you are familiar with. At the top, we have the board of directors. Under that, we have the executive director, and we would also have a CEO at this level as well. From there, it branches into the various departments that we would need to run Champion House. On the left, you'll see we've got the medical, physician assessment, and medication. Under that, nursing. Then detox and treatment, ISTD therapy, which Terry has spoken to, and the daily care support workers. A little bit of a shift to the right is then the area Shannon has been discussing with you, rehab, life skills, and reentry training. And then as we shift further to the right, we get into business, the money part of what it would require to keep Champion House afloat. We have the finance and administration, security, and food services and housekeeping. Now the next slide goes into a little bit more detail about what would be required as far as financial responsibilities. Here you can see at the top we have property acquisition, maintenance, furniture, insurance and taxes, staff recruitment, hiring, training, compensation, operations, technology, association fees, legal costs. And then you always have to have a sundry and miscellaneous where you can put everything and anything that falls outside of everything else. So I think it's pretty obvious with these two slides that it's going to take a very, very large budget to support Champion House. But it's going to take more than financial resources. It's going to take people with expertise, people with resources, and people with power. And the following slide shows you some of these areas where we thought we may be able to contact such people. Now this is some areas, not all of them by any means, but we wanted to keep it short and concise for the presentation tonight. We see BC Housing and Columbia Basin Trust on the left. We have benefactors, stakeholders, and government is on the far right. Now you folks, we have down as the stakeholders, because you are definitely being influenced by the community, the homeless community that is out there. It's affecting your lifestyle and your family's lifestyle. So what we're asking tonight, if what you have heard here, if you feel that there's any potential for this to meet the needs of the community that we're facing right now, we would like your support. We need your support to move forward. And when we're talking support, we're talking your enthusiasm, your energy, and your time, which are all valuable commodities. Talk to your family, your friends, your neighbors. Let them know what you've heard here tonight, if you believe in it, and let them know we're out there, what we want to do, and what we're going to do, and we would certainly appreciate any and all of your help. Thank you. And now I will pass the mic over to Elizabeth, who will wrap up this evening's presentation.
So what is this going to look like? You're all sitting there thinking. A vision of building the Greater Trail Area's own state-of-the-art Champion House. And how can that happen? In different ways. Detached housing, vacant buildings, rental facilities, and vacant lands. I want you just to go back just one. If you just want to think about, close your eyes for a moment and just visualize what would Champion House look like. We've been talking about it. We're not going to dump something in the middle of trail where the environment is what we're trying to get people away from. So perhaps we can imagine that it would be in a pastoral setting, some acreage somewhere on vacant land. There would be trees, maybe the river. There would be many buildings for housing, for skills training, for the nursing part or the treatment parts. You need to start thinking that way. This is a home where people can live, and not just for a certain amount of time, treatment time, or detox time, which is sometimes not that long, but into treatment. This can be to 2 to 3 years. They can go into short-term housing or longer, until they're ready to go out into back into community with skills. We might even start a cottage industry where people can learn to live again, as Shannon was talking about. And it's also been said too that this is a new frontier. It's best practice. There's no gold standards to this because we're just bringing it to you now. There is nowhere between here and the Okanagan where you will get this sort of housing or the treatment all in one place. So what makes us different? We can support the detox and the treatment life skills and the re-entry training and supported housing, but plus the ongoing assessment and that fluid transition we've been talking about from one part of the building to other, here in place. You heard Terry talk about the ISTDP and its proven success rates. And we'll positive people back into the community through that. The people I have met and talked to about this, have been so excited. They really have been. Not just so much because they'll say, yes, but we need detox, we can do this, we can do that. They need the ongoing care. This is something that is sadly lacking within our area. People, and from healthcare, have been really excited about this part of it. The extended recovery and housing. We want to make this a home for champions. And looking forward, this is, I think Peggy touched on it, it's what we need from you. Yes, we need your blessing. We all live in this community, we know each other, and you know how we're thinking. And we need your encouragement. You need to stop us in the street and say, loved your program last night. We want to help you get this off the ground. And we need it to be solid. We will need letters of support. We will ask you, if you have not signed in, there will be, we'll pass the board around again. We'll get your emails, addresses, okay? Because we want your feedback. That's important to us at this stage. Tonight we have a great cross-section of our community. From corporations to service clubs, frontline workers, first responders, lots of representatives from our municipalities, thank you. And our agencies are here. Our support groups, small and large businesses are represented. And genuine citizens who are genuinely interested in this for the betterment of our community. We have tossed a pebble into the ocean. In fact, I like to think it's a bit more of a rock than a pebble, right? What do you get? You get the ripple effect. Everybody here tonight is that first ripple. It's the strongest, but you can take it out into the community. You know the people you can talk to. You know the people with the big ideas. It's thinking outside the box ideas now. We have done this within 5 months. We have brought this far. And I disagree with Marnie about saying we're bold. We are not, but we are definitely full of enthusiasm and excited for this to take part. And we can together bring hope out of the despair that we see within our downtown areas. We can bring hope to our citizens, but to the people we want to heal. That's our mandate, is to heal people. And with your understanding and your business and your creative ideas, we can do that. Take it to the boardrooms, take it to the coffee table, take it to your friends, and to the administrative people, please. We can build on the expertise that's already here, and we can have a really successful project going. By working together, we can have a very caring community, and we will bring Champion House, that plaque. If we go back to the thing, we can put a plaque up there. It says Champion House, and it will be thanks to you, that first ripple. May it be so. Thank you.
Well, thanks for the patience and et cetera. We want to get you to ask any questions you want to. And the one thing that we go to Champion House, I can tell you that every year, 2 times a year, sometimes 3, we have a Trail Rosslyn lunch, Trail Rosslyn for, it's a guy thing, and I think we're going to expand it now because everybody's dying. No, anyway, and you go there and you'll see champions. You'll see Bruno Freschi, you'll see, well, you won't see Caesar anymore, you won't see a lot of fellas anymore, but there are people there, lawyers, judges, all kinds of people, and people that talk, and all we talk about for 2-3 hours, mind you the same story over and over again because we forget it, but we talk about trail, what's happening in trail. And there are people that are in different cities that think about us all the time. Ronnie, you know that, you've been on a couple of those. I mean, they're passionate about it. And so we want to reach out to them as part of the champion because these are well qualified and good people. Anyway, let's put it up for questions, anything and anybody that you want to speak to. You can come up and do it here, or you can yell and do whatever you want. Any questions? Shoot, your name, can you just,
Mike.
Mike?
I have a problem, like, a detox center is one thing, but the thing is, the issue is the drugs out there. I mean, you go downtown trail and you see guys shooting up, and we gotta stop that happening. With the fentanyl overdosing, our regional district fire department's down there all the time, you know, helping people survive by giving them that stuff to keep going, but we gotta stop the drug trafficking that's happening in trail. Because I see that and it's just like, it's a seed. So if we stop that, maybe the people that need detox and help, you know, you can do it.
That's a great point. One of the things on homeless, everybody goes to detox and alcohol. I mean, if you're a 9-year-old kid and somebody says, what do you want to be when you grow up? You're not going to get many that say, I want to live in a cardboard box shooting up, right? And that happens from families, etc. And a lot of the stuff is mental illness, a lot of it is abuse and all the rest of it. You're right about detox, you're right about the drugs. We can't go and shoot people that are doing that. We can pull those people that want to help out, and they don't go back, because they will come to a safe place, say it's in a farm, something, and they can't enter there. And the person that's being helped stays there. And he stays there. In San Padriano, they got 1,400 people in Italy and they've been on for 55 years. And all these places that are the state-of-the-art stuff, they don't solve the problem on the street. Mike, you're absolutely right. But that's other people to solve. We're not trying to solve that. We're trying to take the person that's getting shot up, bring them in and see if we can help them. We're not going to fix the street. I mean, I wish we could, but we can't.
I'd like to speak to that.
Sure.
Just quickly. And it will be really brief. I agree 100%. There's drugs out there. I think that, and there's other entities that need to deal with that aspect of things. I think that what we can do is maybe lower the demand. Maybe we get some of the consumers off the street. If we can get the consumers of the drugs off the streets and get them healthy, there's less need. Traffickers, they're gonna run out of customers. That's the hope. I don't in any way, shape, or form think that we're gonna solve all of the problems, but I think that we can take a big chunk out of it by getting some of these guys off the street and supporting them to get healthy.
Just to add to that, this is a resource also for the community. It's not just for homeless people. So we have a high statistic of substance problems within the community, also just the population. You just don't have to go anywhere in the world and you can come up with that statistic. So I would just like to, we don't get pigeonholed that this is just for the homeless, this is for the community also, and anybody that might need it in their own family. Yep. Ray?
Well, I was just wondering about your name. It seems like, according to the last speaker, Elizabeth, I think, you're talking about a champion village, not a champion house. I just, seems a bit misconstrued what it's about.
It's a good question. What we're trying to do is best in class. And if you're looking best in class, you're looking at San Padriano in Italy, you're looking at all these different organizations, these models, these modules, they go to keeping people together in a community as long as they have to, but not forever. So maybe they're there for 3 years. Maybe it takes 2 or 3 years. Maybe the persons want to be a carpenter, so you get a guy to come in and train. You're trying to train them the way they live, their planning, as was said, and they're there. And this is a private place, and it's protected. And will you solve the problem on the street? No. Well, we might solve the problem for the guys that are in there because they don't. But we can't solve all the problems. And we say champion house, we mean an entity. We have some ideas. We don't want to get into them right now where, but it's got to be a place that's community oriented in and of itself. and then that'll work. It can't be just an apartment building that you run up and down the stairs. That's not gonna work. We proved that it hasn't worked. Because you could talk about 3,000 or 4,000 units in Vancouver that don't work, unfortunately. Yeah, Dan.
First of all, I think we all owe these folks that are up here, including Bob, a vote of gratitude, because they've obviously spent a lot of time putting this together and they put a lot of thought into it. Nothing's perfect when something gets launched, but just to answer one question, I was in the founding committee with Mark Marcola and with Gino Rose when we formed the Home of Champions Committee, and it was Home of Champions in sports, industry, and lifestyle. This is part of lifestyle, and it has a flavor component, maybe something that could be simplified. But I think you can start with as simple as, that's a great PowerPoint. Whoever put that together, congratulations. But I think it should be, it should go out to Area A, it should go into the municipalities, East End 7, and it should be all prominent on the website. So on the right-hand side, instead of having a Gucci website that's a nice green and nice blue, put the orange on the right-hand side. So you start bringing attention to it. So then advocates like us in the room can all say, well, hey, well, check out the village's website. Check out the City of Roslyn's website, whatever community you're from. And that's how you can get some of that engagement. And that's just a starting idea to get things going.
That's a good point. But we don't want to go out and push something that we're not ready for. Well, this is, no, I got it, and we'll go out. With Street to Home and their guidance, we will go. We're going to spend the next months going places. We'll go to, I'm going to go to Italy, but we're going to go and live in those places for a week or for 2 weeks, and we're going to go and see what's happening and how to learn that. And again, Mike, I wish we could solve that problem you got. It's there, but for the people that we come in, we can help them. That's the idea. Question? Come on, Ronnie, you got a question over there.
Yes. Yeah, I was just wondering about the business aspect of it. Obviously, a lot of these people that are going to need this service won't have the resources. So does the group see this as a public, private, some sort of combination, private, public? Because obviously you're going to have to generate some resources to keep surpluses, to keep it going. So just wondering what that business concept will do.
Thank you. And I think that's a good question. And that's one of the big challenges is how you finance it. But there's these government agencies that I don't know about them, and we have people here that do. I focus on the private market, the private people that care. I mean, there was guys that have sold businesses, etc., that are dying to do something, but they don't trust where they're putting their money, you know. And if they trust it and they see it works, you're going to get that. And then when you've got that private money, then you can go and lobby and do all the stuff with the government because but they have a reason to give money because they know you're going to deliver. And that's what we want to start. We want to start so we can deliver it, and then we can spread that out. I know financing is tough. It's like a business, and then this is a business. And hopefully there's a cottage business and all this kind of stuff you can do, but it's a job. It's not going to happen easily, to your point.
Have you costed it?
Sorry?
If you had a donor, how much do you need to get this started? Like what you've described to us, have you put a dollar cost to it?
We haven't put a dollar cost on it, no. But a dollar is in, and anything over that works. And I mean that's because some people can't do that. This is not tonight a talk for send us money. We don't want any money right now. We'll put as Peggy referred to, we'll put this thing together, and when we put it together, it'd be shocking. It's expensive. So maybe we start off, and we only have 5 people we can help, right? So we help 5 people, and then there's 6, and then there's 7. We'll go to the places that have been successful, and we'll ask them all those questions. But we have to put this team together first. Yeah, thank you.
Hallie Grieve, thanks. I think letters of support from the community, I think, will be an easy first step for your group. I think you've got a really good team here. What's your next step after that?
My next step, personally, after that, I have to get permission from everybody, is to figure out where this is gonna be, figure out how to lock up that so we know we have something solid, a base. And then my next step is to go on the street and talk to people, not the street, go to the people that I know, and know people like through the street home, all those people, and say, we need a champion. We need people to come in and help us, period. And we'll get some help. Now, will we get the help to continuous year after year after year? We'll have to build that. But to get started, I think we can get the help. And that's my own opinion.
I think one of our next steps, and I'll just speak loudly, I think everybody can probably hear me. The most reasonable for me, and I think that Marty can probably speak to this better than I can, is strategic planning. We need to develop a plan, we need to come up with our goals, we need to assign people that are going to follow through with the goals. It needs to be solid, and we're not quite there yet. We've got a really great idea, and now we start with strategic planning, business planning, finding property, and knowing who's gonna do what.
We do have a path. We do have a
Yeah, and I think, tonight is just an introduction. We get it. It's not an easy job.
Thank you. Steve Morissette from Village of Fruitvale. And do you have any ideas to work on prevention? Like people that are struggling, they don't start on the street, and they usually start because they have either mental health issues or trauma or hurt within that they're self-medicating and trying to treat that hurt. And is there any plan to, like, at what point are you going to help people?
That's a great question, and I asked that question to these people that have programs. And the question is that there's a family member that's on the street because maybe they got punched around and took off. But then he has a brother and a sister, maybe, I'm just picking. And so how do you bring that in? Well, you bring it in with engagement. You bring it in, come and ask your family. The same as a lot of psychotherapy that Terry was talking about. And this thing will spread. We have to work on very clean lines where we can define. But if you got somebody that's on the edge coming in, it's a synergy will happen. The love, and if you want to call it love, the sharing will happen. It won't happen all the time. And we've got to, you'll get what you get, right? Questions?
I think how you get this thing wrapped up is, you can get it wrapped up with money pretty quick. And I'm just seeing this presentation for the first time. I think it's outstanding. It's something we needed for a long time. AM4 will commit $2,500 a year for the first 5 years, and AM4 will also go out and get 10 other people that donate $2,500 a year. That's a commitment to Homemake. Bob, to your group, thank you for the wonderful job you've done. And I can't see anybody not investing in this. They have had some real problems. But I'm just giving you my opinion, and that's what I'm going to do. Whatever everybody else does.
Thank you, Danny. This, I didn't want to get into and I appreciate this. This is terrific, but I don't want to get into the money thing. Sure we need that. Sure we need to put it together. And what you're doing is great. We want people engaging, and you can start with 2,500. No. Any more? Anybody else?
My name is Tammy McLean. I'm a family nurse practitioner, recently retired, who worked in addiction medicine for the last 5 years, but nursing for 38. Right now, for a 6-week treatment program, it's anywhere privately, without government funding, it's anywhere between $10,000 and $30,000 per person for a 6-week program. So this is the kind of money you guys are going to be looking at, and that's not for a 6-week program. So it's a pretty big ask. And I'll clap my hands when I see it happen. The other thing I would suggest is a couple of things. Learn about first person, first language. Calling people junkies and saying they've got weapons is just horrific to start out with, so you need to learn about that. And the final thing I wanted to say is on your board is, have someone, or maybe more than one person with living and lived experience who can help guide you as in a really good way, because they've walked the walk and they know what they need. So thank you.
That's great. Very good. Very good. Thank you.
I can yell.
You want to yell? Stand up, please.
Yeah. I don't see anybody donating money to help people now. It's like it costs people $1,800 to go to a treatment center that's fully funded or subsidized by the government, and there's no one. You can't even get people to these treatment centers. They can't get money for a bus to get to these treatment centers. And it shows the need. And I recognize that everyone's trying to deal with the homeless and physical problem. But I don't know if anyone realizes the numbers of addiction within the community. There's large numbers, and I'm not sure what that is. I think what you guys are doing, I think you've got to start somewhere, and I think it grows. And I work for Interior Health. I'm not representing Interior Health. I'm a substance use case manager. I think someone left a message on my phone, and I wrote it down, and I said, I lost that piece of paper when I was on vacation and put it away. So no one reached out after. And so I have some of the numbers. I have some of the resources. I'm an addict myself. I've been to 2 treatment centers. It's been 30 grand a piece, not from my pocket, from my in-service pocket from the government. Twice. It doesn't work the first time. It's really difficult. I see people every day. I have 70 people on my caseload. Everybody's situation is different, and there's absolutely no way that one brush will fix everybody that shows up. There's a lot on the street. Well, I don't see a lot of people on the street because you know what? They like the drugs right now. It's not gotten bad enough to make some changes. Some people, just because we want people to change, doesn't mean they're going to. You know what? Drugs are nice. They feel good until they don't. And as soon as we take people off, there'll be more people coming up. And, you know, I think more money should be going into preventing more people from getting into those situations. It's all over the community. It doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, smart, dumb. Addiction is a disease. And like I said, I don't see people offering money now. No one's saying, hey, Interior, you know, is there anyone that needs a hand? Some resources, and we do what we can. Just doesn't money.
And that's good. What's your first name?
Simon.
Sorry?
Simon.
Simon? Yeah. I get it. There's no question. But without a plan, without an intact physical plan that exists, you're not going to solve everybody's problem. There's no way. But you're going to solve some problems. And are we going to take everybody off the? No, we're not saying that. We're coming up with state-of-the-art stuff that's working. And we have to go and watch it work, and we have to go through all the comments that they will make about the problems we're going to have, and Ronnie will make about the cost of it, and all the rest of it. There's a lot of work to do. But we either walk away and leave it alone, or we give it a shot. Well, we're going to give it a shot. And we only help 10 people, we help 10 people. And I hope it's a lot better than, but I appreciate what you're saying. Yep.
Yeah, Shane.
Shane, yeah.
I've been here all my life. Anyways, I've been to treatment myself twice to the same treatment center for drug addiction. And it was the Edgewood Health Network. And it's like, I hear you guys saying that you guys want to travel to all these places. Has anyone talked to people in the Edgewood Health Network?
In the which?
Edgewood Health Network. They're all across Canada. They're stationed out in Nanaimo. They're running along the same lines as you guys are, and they have good success with good aftercare and the whole bit. Has anyone reached out to them?
Well, I've reached out, I'll get Terry on this, but I've reached out to the people in Bowen Island, people on the island, and those are treatments that you go for. Like I had a niece, and she was there for 2 months, etc. But it's not complete, so 2 months back, it's not long enough.
No. The Edgewood Health Network has got 2 to 3 year programs.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
They've got like 2 or 3 year programs.
Okay. Terry, you guys are familiar?
And this also brings me up to my next point that I want to make.
Yeah. Can you come on?
You guys are doing awesome work.
Can you speak up?
Come on up here, yeah.
You guys are doing awesome work, and guys, the approach that you guys are taking is the right one. But you guys should actually have people that have come from the streets,
Yeah,
that have been addicted to stuff.
but we're not ready for that.
No, but I'm just saying,
We're not organized yet.
when you guys move forward,
Absolutely.
to have people like Mr. Ashman wanting to donate money and Ron Perzado here, and I'm even willing to donate some money too. But Edgewood started with a woman, Jane, and she went to McMillan Bloedel.
Yeah.
And she got all of these people from that McMillan Bloedel to come there. That's how her program started. We have the regional hospital, we have Tech, and we have Fortis. Huge, plus in Castle. We have businesses here that send their people away. We don't need to do that, we can do it right here with the plan that you guys are setting up. So if you guys actually think about it, and when you guys move forward to talk to these industries, because people like me would love to help in any way, shape, or form, but these industries are the ones that are actually going to bring their people and send them here. So.
One of the issues I think you're speaking to, and this is just a psychological issue, is that there's two things that are going on for people that have addiction. I'm 49 year sobriety person myself, and I can remember feeling like I was crazy, and I couldn't stop it. And there's a part of me that was really strong. I was athletic. I was 1970s, early 70s. I won't get into a drunkalogue here, but you know, I knew that I needed to help, and I wanted to get help. I couldn't stop it, and that's the issue for most people. So I'm hearing you saying get more people involved that are, or have some people involved that are recovering people. I would put a caveat to that, that as long as they're trained to deal with the issues that are psychologically known now around addiction, then there's always the danger that you run into with, you can't tell people to get well. You have to initiate their will to want to get well. And that's the whole issue that you have to work with. So just because you're a recovering person doesn't mean you can go and tell people they should get, it's like stopping smoking. You should stop smoking. Good luck.
So this is not an easy program. Yeah, come on.
You're good. I watched you.
Dying to sleep.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, I agree with the program. I also want to say a caveat. Deb McIntosh from Castlegar, did anyone contact her?
Wait, start.
Okay, she's a good advocate
Great.
because she runs the community health area and she works with the homeless one-on-one as well. And I do think we should get people that have been through sober, right? I'm sober. To talk to you about how it was if they went through treatment, right? We also do, besides Fortis and Tech, we have a lot of areas that could be savings. I mean, there's other businesses that can contribute and send people, because it's not just the homeless that are having issues, it's the people in the homes as well around here. And I can walk around and know exactly what I'm speaking about. I totally support it. But I do want you to, all of the communities, Fruitvale and Castlegar especially.
Well,
Yeah, you know, everybody has been contacted. Jean Gary said he regrets people from Simon up there. He had called you, Simon. And I did, Karen was going to come. So people have been contacted. Unfortunately, not everybody can make it on a certain
She wasn't contacted, that's why I just wanted to say.
Who's that?
Deb McIntosh.
Okay.
She's
So I went to
number one.
Anchorage, redone, we're involved with, and Moms Against Harm. Okay, no, she couldn't make it either tonight. So people have been contacted, and it's up to them whether they can make it. One night, this is the first night, we will get other people, but you're absolutely right, we do need everybody involved.
Yeah.
And just for the people that work with themselves, right? Yeah. Okay, was there any more questions? It's 20 after 8. We're really cognizant of your time, but thank you for staying. Any more questions? Yeah, Luana.
remind everybody that anything that we ever got done in this town took us a meeting like this where a bunch of people got together with an idea. They didn't have any money, they didn't have any place to put it. We just had an idea of what we wanted. And it always took us a long time to get there, but we got the aquatic center, and we got the skate park, and we got the first CT scanner at the hospital, and all the other things that the hospital has gotten because we got together as a community and put the ideas together and put the money where it needed to go. And I think this is a really good way to start. I'm going back 20 years when Communities in Bloom started, and I know I shouldn't bring that up because it's but it was a meeting like this. We met at the Colombo Lodge, and all the movers and shakers in town, and I'm looking around here at all the people here, and they were all people that look like you, and we got together and said, you know, Trail has an image problem and we need to do something about it, and that's what we did. And that's the only way this is going to work too, is if people stick with it and say, yeah, we want to make this work, and it may take 10 years. Marnie told me the other night she's hoping it'll only take 3 years. So I'm with you on that. I really absolutely pray that happens. But it needs this kind of thing, and we all have to get committed to it and bring more people into it and not let the idea go. And I really want to thank you guys for doing this, and wish you lots of luck.
We're going to get your needs, but we're in the long haul, that's for sure.
Just quickly, so there is a website, you can drive for your information, follow up, that kind of stuff?
We're going to do that, and we're going to have a link. Bill's been working hard on that right now.
That's the
And
water
then
drive community involvement.
absolutely.
Yeah, with the other streets, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know the people who couldn't make it tonight want that feedback. They want to be in the door.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking. So, yeah, if you haven't signed in, it's just a way of us communicating with you. We will send you an email. Everybody has email now, I think. So we will contact you. We will maybe put the link on that too.
Thank you.